Okay, so without further ado, as Grace said, my name is Lyra and I'm the Stewardship Coordinator with Christina Lake Stewardship Society. I started here last year and it has been a really great year. We've done a lot of the same things and I've been attempting to add some new things. So today I'll be telling you a little bit about what we've done for the past year. So yeah, here's our agenda. I will let you know who Christina Lake Stewardship Society is, although I think many of you know probably better than I do. And what we do. So we do a lot of education and public outreach, and then we have an environmental monitoring portion, and I'll tell you a little bit of the projects that we have on the go currently, and then how everyone here can get involved.
Use the mic.
Is it better with the mic? Feedback.
I think if you just hold it a little further away, it would be fine.
Just takes a couple seconds before it.
Okay, so who is Christina Lake Stewardship Society? Christina Lake Stewardship Society, or CLSS, is a nonprofit organization that was established first in 1998 and made into a nonprofit in 2001. And it was created to preserve and protect the health and quality of the Christina Lake watershed. We rely heavily on grants and aid, and public support. So a lot of our funding comes from these groups here, and a huge portion comes from Grace McGregor over there. The food today was funded by Grace. And then Paul, we have here as well through RDKB, is responsible for a lot of the funding that we receive each year. And then some other funders that we have are the Phoenix Foundation, the British Columbia Conservation Foundation, the Habitat Conservation Trust Foundation, the BC Gaming Association, and then we received private funding from Aaron Anthony with Grand Forks Real Estate this year. And we also have a lot of donations in time and machinery from the YRB. So I'll talk a little bit about our education and youth programs that we run. So each summer we run one youth program each week. And for those this summer, we had a few different studies and programs that we ran. One big popular one was our birdhouse and nesting bird program. So on that day, the kids came in and they learned about different nesting birds and which ones are cavity nesters and which ones build nests themselves. And then we partnered with the Christina Lake Arts and Artisan Society, and they pre-cut and drilled these birdhouses that the kids got to then assemble. And that was a really great day. The kids left with these birdhouses and a lot of smiles, and that was a very popular one. And then we also have started to run winter sessions as well. So this is during the kids' Christmas break, and we have students come in twice during the Christmas break, and last year we learned about tracking animals, and then we had another one. So this year we plan on doing the same, and we are also having a little sapling session coming up, and the kids under 5 will come in and we'll do arts and crafts and learn about nature. So another portion of what we do is our public outreach. So we go to different public events and we stay in public areas. So like Texas Creek boat launch, and we kind of educate the public on different resources and different things in our area. So we went to, I believe it was over 11 this year, including homecoming, which you see in the top left-hand corner there, and then the Big Effort Swim, and we have 2 of our lovely board members who are also here today, and then our summer students. So we do employ a summer student each year, and that's just a seasonal position, but that allows some students to get a foot in the door if they're interested in this career path in environmental. And then we also went to Winterfest here last year, and we did a lot of public outreach down at Texas Creek Boat Launch for aquatic invasive species. So that was just speaking to the public about aquatic invasive species and how they can do their part to prevent the spread. So another thing we do to help with education is we do solar aquatic system tours. So this building is our solar aquatic system. It is a water reclamation building, and it takes all of the sewage water from the welcome center and processes it, and it releases it back into the environment in a safe manner. And so we have tours that come in. We had 2 with Selkirk College and numerous just public people who come in and are interested in what's going on in that building because it's a very beautiful building and they see plants and they love plants. So they come in and we do a tour for them. And so this year we did almost 10 tours. And then as Grace mentioned, for the first time, we hosted the 2023 Christina Lake Fishing Derby. So this was an educational fishing derby, and it was quite different from your traditional derbies. And this one had a lot of different feedback because people wanted to bring their big fish and have them weighed and have the photos with the big fish. But we changed it up and we had every single person send us the photos of their fish instead. So this changed things because instead of just seeing the large fish, we saw the little fish, as you see in the top left-hand corner there. And we saw the no fish, as you see in this one. And we got to see the smiling faces of hundreds of people. So that was very, very exciting. We had over 200 entries and over 70 fish caught. So the next section I'll talk about is our environmental monitoring and protection. So we have been doing yearly kokanee enumerations since 2005. And this is done by walking the length of the creeks that the kokanee spawn in and counting how many fish we can see. So it's not an exact science. I'm not going to tell you that this is how many fish spawn, but this is how many we were able to count in the timeline that has been counted throughout the past years. So this year in Stadner Creek, we counted a total of 8,838 fish. And so what we do is we check on the creek, and when we see the fish spawning, we will count twice a week and then wait for the peak and then count 2 days after that. And this year, you can see the numbers. There is nothing too red flagish about it. But as you can see in 2020, I believe it was, yeah, we had quite a high count. So kokanee spawn on a 4-year cycle. So it's expected that our 2024 year will be pretty heavy. And then we look at McCrae Creek, and as you can see, there's a lot of zeros there. And the reason for that is that McCrae Creek has not had water in it for years. And that's something that, as a lot of people have mentioned here today already, you can see how the water quality and the loss of water in our environment is affecting our fish species. And then Sutherland Creek is a whole other journey. So we did one full count of Sutherland Creek and were able to find 1 dead fish. And we saw one attempting to spawn, but I'm not sure that it was successful because there was no other fish around. And there are quite a few different factors that are leading to this. But one thing that I noticed as I was walking the length of the creek is that there are a lot of man-made dams and pools. So that's completely altering the water flow. And these fish are having to now hurdle over these waterfalls that weren't there. And these waterfalls push out sediment. So that sediment that used to be there, that was great spawning area, is now gone. So there's a lot of different factors leading to that. But unfortunately, this year we only counted 2 in Sutherland Creek. So we had Lake Cleanup Day this year, as we have done for a long time. And again, we have to thank Grace for this one. She's a great supporter of the Stewardship Society, and we were able to offer prizes to people who participated in the day. And as you can see, Grace in her little red wagon, she's been doing that for years as well. I'm sure some of you have seen her walking around with it on Lake Cleanup Day. So for that, we're also very grateful. And then RDKB was able to waive the dumping fees. So we brought close to 1 ton of garbage to the dump, and they were able to waive the fees for us, which was really great. And then this year, for the first time, we added an underwater cleanup portion. So we had 2 volunteer divers come in, and they dove at Texas Creek and Shuleigh's boat launch. And Texas Creek was not as successful as we had hoped. There was a high water flow, so they anticipated, or they guessed that the garbage would have been swept away. They were able to find a few beer cans that were tucked under the ground, but everything else was found at Shuleigh's, and they found numerous signs, tires, beer cans, pretty much everything, a couple dog toys. But it was a really great experience. We're hoping to continue that throughout the years. And then another program that we've been running for years is our Fish in Schools program. This was a program established by the Okanagan Nation Alliance, or the ONA, and this was designed to create salmon advocates for generations to come. So this is a program where they supply the tank, they supply everything you need, and they will bring you salmon eggs, and you get to raise these salmon from eggs until they're ready to be released. And then we get to go to a ceremony in Castlegar where we get to release them. And the Christina Lake Elementary School participates as well. And this just gives an opportunity for people to come into the Stewardship Society and experience salmon and see how they work. And this was one of our little salmon Ilvin that we had this year that actually had 2 heads and 1 stomach and 1 tail. So that was a first, and I sent it off to the biologist to set this up, and they were like, "Can I pass this around?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So that was pretty neat, and every person that came into the Stewardship Society after that, I was like, "Look at this." We still have it if you're interested in seeing. So our other program is our derelict dock removal program. So this has been running for years, and this is currently run by our president, Dave Johnson. He does it primarily on his own, sometimes with support if he needs it for certain docks. But here he collects docks that are abandoned or have broken free in the ice flow and that sort of thing. And he stages them at a portion of the lake in a corner, and then each fall, YRB again donates machinery and labor to haul everything out and take it away. So this year we removed 7 docks from the lake, which was a really great year. And we also have residents who come and they're getting new docks or something along those lines, and they'll come to us to have them removed. And they will give us a donation in, yeah. So as mentioned earlier, we do our water quality sampling. I won't go into depth here because that was definitely more in depth than the previous one. But we sample every second Friday. This is myself and our summer student, Cody. So he and I would go out with a volunteer because we didn't have access to a boat. So that was quite limiting. So if anyone would like to come watch some water sampling done next summer, let me know. And we would gladly have you and your boat. That too, yes. Donations are welcome. So yes, the data is submitted to the BC Lake Stewardship Society, and that's where we're measuring the dissolved oxygen, turbidity, and temperature. So the highest measured temperature this year was 23.7. So that was on the surface of the water, and that is very warm. So another monitoring program that we have is our aquatic invasive species monitoring. So a huge impact that aquatic invasive species have is on the the turbidity of the water and how clear it is. And so we are preventing that by doing this sampling. And we take this net and we drop it down into the water column and pull it up, and it collects the water and it filters it out. And we send a sample about this big all the way to Vancouver, and they test it for us. So they're testing for zebra and quagga mussels. So zebra and quagga mussels are very prevalent in Eastern Canada as well as most of the United States. And they have a huge impact on everyone who's living on the lake. They clog pipes, and they wreck the beaches, and they filter the water. So that would have a devastating impact on our environment. And so that's why we're doing this program. It's not a preventative program, unfortunately. That's what the Conservation Officer Service does. They have the check stations across the province. But ours is, if it is present in Christina Lake, we will catch it early and we will prevent the spread to further lakes in BC. So we also have our interpretive gallery in the Welcome Center in Christina Lake. So this is something that the public is able to attend whenever we're there. So right now we're there Monday to Thursday. During the winter, we have lower hours because it is funding dependent. But yeah, we have different skulls and hides and scat samples, and the kids really love it there. So on the go. So I was just talking about our interpretive gallery, and we did receive a grant from the BC Conservation Foundation last year that we will be completing over the next month. And we are updating our interpretive gallery. So we intend to make it a lot more interactive because people will come in and walk around and then walk out. So we have plans to create some interactive displays and then make it a lot more accessible for people and have more options for them. Next, we have our xeriscape garden and pollinator garden. So I'm sure a few of you have noticed the garden sitting out behind the Welcome Center and how it's been sitting there empty for a few years. There's been some permitting issues and some problems getting that on the go again, but we have decided to go with the xeriscape garden, which will exhibit how to garden with little water use, which is a very important aspect to think of in our current day and time. And that is funded by the Boundary Integrated Watershed Strategy. So that's RDKB again. And then a photo you can see on the far right-hand side there. YRB, again, donated their time and their machinery to build us these beautiful garden boxes and deliver them. So that was really great on them. And then currently I am working on the Christina Lake Nature Park interpretive signage. So that again was funded by the Boundary Integrated Watershed Strategy grant. And those will be interpretive signs put up through the nature park that just talk about nature, beavers, turtles, and birds and that sort of thing. We'll give everyone just a better understanding of what's going on in the nature park rather than just the signs that tell us to put our dogs on a leash. And so I'm sure most of you here are already involved as you're here, but how can you get involved and how can you encourage others to get involved? So volunteer. If you volunteer, it's not saying that you have to be at every event. You don't have to be there all the time. But if you have a day where you'd like to come help garden, we'd always welcome you. Or late cleanup day, if you feel like walking along your street and picking up garbage, you can bring us that garbage and tell us what you've done. And even that is a great help to us. And then donate. We are a nonprofit, so everything we do is dependent on help from people like Grace and RDKB and then the public. So we are always very grateful for that. And lastly, even something like following us on Facebook, checking out our website or signing up for our monthly emails is very helpful because that spreads the word and that's what we want. We want that to educate the public and to pass the word on and to help everyone care for the environment like we do. So thank you everyone.